Being a Longhorn is opportunity, pride, achievement, community, safety. Being a Longhorn is a choice to become a hero, to lead, to thrive in any setting. Being a Longhorn means immersing yourself in fine arts, learning at your own pace in Montessori, starting your path to college in elementary, earning a college degree in high school. The pride of being a Longhorn lives on long after graduation. Educate, empower, inspire.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our first Digital Parent University of the 2021-2022 school year. My name is Alicia Davis. I'm the Director of Family and Community Engagement for Cedar Hill ISD. I am joined by a number of people, and I'm going to get to them in just a minute. I want to just give you a little reminder of some of the things our board has been doing. They changed our vision, mission, and motto last year through the Lone Star governance process. So our vision is unlocking every Longhorn's potential. Our mission is to develop resilient scholars who excel academically and are empowered to serve. And our motto is educate, empower, inspire. And I'm sure you've seen that a lot, and those are the principles that we are leading and learning by. Now, some upcoming events that we have for the district. Of course, our elementary open houses are virtual, and they will occur this Thursday at 5:30 p.m. You should receive links from your elementary scholars campus to be able to participate in those virtual events. Our secondary open house was on the 16th. So hopefully you all participated in that. And of course, it's time for our elementary scholars to do that. Your Title I annual presentation will occur during that time as well. On Thursday, at 11:30 next week, we will have our annual State of the District in conjunction with our Chamber of Commerce. That will be at the Maddox Teaching and Learning Center. On October the 8th, which is a Friday, the parent conference will occur, so there will be no school for scholars. In addition to Monday, October 11th, that is the fair day, so no school for scholars will take place that date either. On Thursday, October the 14th at 6:30 p.m., we have our first Trustee Connection session, which is our board advocacy sessions through Lone Star Governance, where they will talk to our community about what they've been doing and take questions from the community as well. We are doing those in person in tandem with the Public Improvement District meetings throughout the city of Cedar Hill. So there are 5 PIDs. And so for each of the Trustee Connection sessions, we will be doing them in conjunction with those. So our first one, of course, again, is on Thursday, the 14th at 6:30 p.m. for the High Point PID, and it will take place at High Point Baptist Church. We also have our second Digital Parent University coming up in October. It is going to be on ways that we can engage our parents and scholars at the campus. We will talk about our communities and schools, in addition to our parent and community liaisons and PTA and opera dance. So please be on the lookout for that next Parent University. So tonight we do have our presenters and panelists. We have Dr. Courtney Jackson. She is our Executive Director of Counseling Services for the district. Tracy Bragg, she is the Associate Principal of ECA and Advanced Academics at Cedar Hill High School. We have Angel Hodges. She is the Director of Gear Up. She will join us in a moment. And we also have Natalie Garrett. She is our Advanced Academics and Innovation Coordinator for the district. We have Lillian McDaniel. She is the counselor at Collegiate High School. She will also likely join us in a moment. And we have Ms. Michelle Matthews. She is our CCMR counselor at Cedar Hill High School. And we have Mr. Henry Price. He is from the Princeton Review. He's going to talk to you a little bit about the PSAT. Okay, and so we're going to get to Dr. Jackson, who is going to talk to us about CCMR. Okay, good evening, parents. We are so happy that you are joining us for this, our first DPU of the school year. So, this Digital Parent University is dedicated to giving you some awareness about our CCMR initiatives and all of the things that we have going on to ensure that your scholar is on track to be college, career, and military ready upon leaving us. And so, we are asking that you listen intently and learn ways that you can partner with us to ensure that your scholar is on track K all the way through 12th grade. So, what is CCMR? As you know, our board goals, and our district has outlined 4 goals that are student outcome goals, which guide all of our actions. And the very first goal is to increase the percentage of scholars that are graduating college, career, and military ready. So that's what CCMR is: college, career, and are military ready. And that's simply stating that when our kids leave us, they are armed with a plan, a post secondary plan that either leads them to a 2 or 4 year higher education institution, leads them to enlist in the military or branch of the armed service, or leave with the certification in order to enter a career of his or her choice. So that is our goal for every one of our scholars, so that they don't leave us unprepared. So what does that look like? The state has outlined a number of indicators that would designate whether or not your scholar is CCMR as they leave us for graduation. Under the college arm, TSI is one of the indicators that will let us know if your scholar is ready to enter a 2 or 4 year institution. Under that, there are a number of tests: the ACT, the SAT, the TSIA, or taking a college prep course. Here in Cedar Hill ISD, we offer a number of those tests for free for your scholar beginning as early as 8th grade. So this year, and we'll share our district testing plan with you, but this year, every scholar 8th through 12th grade will have an opportunity to take the TSIA test for free. Our juniors and seniors will be participating in an SAT school day during the course of the school day, so every scholar will have an opportunity to take that. And then our juniors and seniors are currently participating in the Texas College Bridge, which is the college prep course. All of those efforts are there to ensure our scholars are meeting that college career ready indicator under college. Then another way they can earn is to participate in our dual credit programming. We do have our collegiate program, and now we have an ECA program on our comprehensive high school, which gives our students an opportunity to participate in those dual credit courses. They can take 9 hours of any general dual credit course, or just 3 hours, which is one course of either reading or math, to be considered CCMR. Or both of those programs lead to an associate's degree, so your student is eligible to participate in that. And then the final thing is enrolling in higher education. And then under the career umbrella, leaving with the industry-based certification, or leaving with the level 1 or 2 certificate, an advanced degree program, which is for our students in special education, or completed an IEP, workforce readiness. And under the military branch, those students would leave us and enlist in the military. And they would also have an opportunity to participate in the ASVAB test, which we also offer for our students in grades 11th and 12th. So what does that look like? And what are we tracking at each level? For our scholars who are in elementary, we want to make sure that our students come to school every single day, because, if they're not at school, then we are not able to give them the information that they need in order to continue to advance and do well in some of these tests that we've talked about. And then we also want them to do well on these assessments that we offer. The NWEA is one that I'm sure you're familiar with, because our scholars recently participated in that. So when you get that information, ensure that your scholars are understanding the importance of taking these tests seriously. And then, of course, our state assessment, which is the STAR. Our students need to do well on that area. So we track that to ensure that they are on track to do well on the assessments that we talked about for high school. And then, of course, we know that student engagement is critical for our scholars to feel connected to the school, and in order for them to continue to do well and excel academically. So we want them to participate in all of the extracurricular and co-curricular clubs that we have available for them that are in alignment with our academic strategies. And then in middle school, we have all of those indicators, but also they have the opportunity to participate in high school courses in middle school. And then also in eighth grade, making sure that they select an endorsement that is of interest to them, that is aligned with their skills and their interests, that will lead them through high school and maybe end up in a certification to make sure that they're career ready. And then again, with high school, all of the indicators that we discussed that are tracked by the state, those are the things that we will be tracking for our high school scholars. And all of our presenters that are coming up next will give you more information in each of these categories. And now I turn it over to our CCMR counselor, Ms. Michelle Matthews, to tell you more about what that looks like for our 9th through 12th graders.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this edition of Digital Parent University. My name is Ms. Matthews. Again, I'm the CCMR counselor at the high school campus. And I'm just going to share just some information with you about how you can partner with us to ensure that your student is prepared for life after high school graduation. And beginning with the 9th grade, we're looking at the first bullet. It says, help your child set goals for the school year. Working towards specific goals helps your child stay motivated and focused. Also, talk to your students about getting involved in extracurricular activities. As they continue through high school, it's going to help them remain engaged in high school when they have or are involved in organizations and extracurricular activities. And once they get involved in those extracurricular activities, you want them to also establish leadership roles within those organizations, because when they prepare for college, it looks really good to those college representatives if they've not only participated in those extracurricular activities and organizations, but that they've also held leadership positions. So the earlier they get started, the better. Also, discuss next year's classes with them. Make sure your child is challenging him or herself and taking the courses that college admissions officers expect to see. And those are the honors courses, AP courses, just those courses that show rigor and help them see that the student is capable of being successful at the next level. Also, help your child make summer plans. Summer is a great time to explore interest and learn new skills. The colleges look for students to do certain things like volunteering, creating their own community service project, working, helping others. All of these are things that they can put on their resume as they're going through high school. So we encourage you to work with them to develop summer plans so that they can build their resume. And the link that's at the bottom here of the screen will be shared later, and you can look at the parent action plan for the 9th grade in its entirety. For our 10th grade parents, make a plan to check in regularly about schoolwork. If you keep up with your child's tests, papers, and homework assignments, you can celebrate successes and head off problems as a team. When parents are engaged in their child's schoolwork and activities, it helps them to know that they're being held accountable, and it creates that partnership that helps them want to be successful. Also, help your 10th grader get ready to take the PSAT NMSQT. And that's a lot of letters. So let me explain a little bit about what that is or what that stands for. PSAT is the preliminary scholastic aptitude test, and NMSQT stands for National Merit Scholar Qualifying Test. And so this test can be administered as early as the 10th grade year. And I don't know if we're offering it to our sophomores this year. Ms. Bragg or Dr. Jackson can speak to that a little bit later, but we do offer it to our juniors, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. So taking this test can help the child prepare for the SAT, which is the test that colleges look at to determine admissions, and it's also used for scholarships as well. So sophomores can also use their score reports to figure out which academic areas they need to work on. So it really prepares them for the actual SAT test that they will need to take for college later on. Okay, so in addition, you just start thinking about ways to pay for college. Most families get help paying for college costs, and this will be primarily through scholarships and through financial aid, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the presentation. Help your sophomore also explore career ideas. He or she can make a list of interests, talents, and favorite activities and start matching them with occupations. And again, there's a link there to assist you with these processes. For our juniors, here's this long acronym again, the PSAT NMSQT. Again, this test is given to our juniors, and if they score high enough on it, then they can be considered for additional scholarship opportunities. As a National Merit Scholar, there is a lot of money and a lot of funds for scholarships that go along with that title. In addition, help your child prepare for the SAT and ACT. Both of these tests are used by colleges so that they can determine whether they will be accepted into college or not. If they start now planning to take the test or taking those tests during their junior year, they'll have more opportunities to take and improve their scores prior to submitting them to the colleges that they're planning to enroll in. Also, discuss taking challenging courses next year. Taking honors courses, college level courses as a senior can help your child prepare for college work. And these are the courses that college admissions officers like to see, especially since now a lot of the schools are moving toward a more holistic acceptance or review process. It's good for them to see that the students, again, are taking those more challenging courses. And of course, it does help their rank and GPA as they receive more rank points for the honors, dual credit, and AP courses. Also, search together for colleges that meet your child's needs. You want to have those conversations with your students to kind of find out what are they looking for in a college. And as they identify whether they want to go to an HBCU, whether they want to go to an all-girls school, all-male school, start looking for colleges that fit their needs or satisfy that criteria. And there is a function on the Big Future website called College Search that will allow you to identify those schools that meet that criteria. And finally, for our seniors, now's the time that you should encourage your child to start completing the college applications if they have not started already. For some of the larger schools, those deadlines are in December, late November, so you'll want them to get started early. As it relates to financial aid, you'll want to make sure that you start preparing for the FAFSA. The window opens October 1st, but you can start gathering your 2020 income tax returns and completing the FSA ID so that you will be prepared when that window opens. If you are eligible for the Pell Grant, you could also be eligible for the Texas Grant, and those funds are free, but they are limited and oftentimes awarded on a first-come, first-served basis. So you'll want to get the FAFSA completed as soon as possible. Also, as it relates to funding for college, you have the College Board Opportunity Scholarships that actually give students an opportunity to earn scholarships by simply doing the things that they need to do anyway to prepare for college, such as practicing for the SAT or ACT and the PSAT, for doing college searches, for completing the FAFSA, all those things that they're going to have to do anyway. If they complete those items according to the specifications on the College Board Opportunity Scholarship website, then they will be entered into a drawing for $500 scholarships. And we've actually already had 2 students to win the $500 scholarships as juniors. So make certain that they do log on to the College Board Opportunity website or College Board website. If they haven't created an account, they can go ahead and do that and begin following the instructions for each of the activities, and they can be eligible for those scholarships. And in general, this is the time to really be applying for all of the scholarships that are available. Though we will be sending out that information in my weekly emails. You will see scholarship links so that they can go ahead and begin applying for those scholarships. Okay, so for the scholarships, oftentimes they require letters of recommendation. They sometimes require letters of recommendations from specific teachers or the counselor. So by completing the brag sheet, they can share the brag sheet with whomever they are requesting the letter of recommendation from, and it gives them an opportunity based on what they provide, the information that they provide about themselves. We're all able to write a more substantive letter for them. Also complete the FAFSA. And many colleges and universities, most colleges and universities, require all students to complete the free application for federal student aid. Again, this is used to determine eligibility for the free money issued in the form of the Pell Grant and student loans. And also, it is a graduation requirement. So it's critical that we get on this as soon as possible, get it completed, so that this is not something that we have hanging over our heads at the end of the day, at the end of the school year, rather. And I will be hosting financial aid workshops throughout the month of October, the first being October the 6th. And you can check the emails for more information regarding times and locations. Okay, so this is a senior to-do list. And just a quick review, we didn't talk about the Dallas County Promise Pledge, but this is really a kind of a Southern sector initiative, and we are a part of the coalition of the Dallas County Promise program, and it gives our students an opportunity to go to some of the local colleges that are participating in the program tuition free. And so it requires them to complete the pledge, complete the FAFSA, and actually apply to one of those colleges. And even if the local colleges are not on their Plan A or their primary list, it can always be a Plan B. And what we're trying to do this year is make sure that our students have as many options as possible. And this is definitely a good one that they can have. And we want all of our seniors to complete the Dallas County Promise Pledge and all of the steps that make them eligible for this option. Number 2, create your FSA ID. The FSA ID is actually your electronic signature or your digital signature that's required in order to submit the FAFSA. While the FAFSA is not open yet, it doesn't open until next Friday, October the 1st, you can go ahead and create your FSA ID, and you'll see the link to that on the next couple of slides. Complete the FAFSA. Remember, that is a graduation requirement for the class of 2022 and beyond. So we definitely want to do that sooner rather than later. Complete the brag sheet, apply for scholarships, complete college applications, and use Naviance to request the transcripts for the colleges that they are applying to. So these slides here just contain links to scholarship resources. This is just a few. There are many, and this will all be shared with you after the presentation. And these are college resources here. The first 3, Apply Texas Coalition and Common App, are application platforms that students use to actually apply to various colleges. Apply Texas, like the title states, is primarily for Our Texas Schools Coalition is more, it includes more, actually all of the schools in the nation. It's nationwide. Common App is the same. Naviance, again, is the platform that we use to submit transcripts to the various colleges, as well as letters of recommendation. There is PSAT practice test link there, and you can find additional resources on our district website and our CCMR website. Here is contact information for Ms. McDaniel. She is the counselor at the lead counselor at Cedar Hill Collegiate High School. That's her contact information, and my contact information is listed below. Feel free to reach out anytime with questions. You can email, you can call, we can set up a virtual link for a virtual meeting. So that's all I have. Again, thank you so much for participating tonight, and have a great one.
Thank you so much, Ms. Matthews. I'm sure she'll stick around for some questions if people have them for later. Next, we are going to move on to Ms. Garrett. She is going to talk about our advanced academics. So you have the floor.
Thank you, Alicia. So tonight, parents will be talking about the benefits that our advanced academics program in Cedar Hill brings to you for our students being CCMR or college and career ready for graduation. So our campuses and districts try to demonstrate CCMR performance indicators by everything listed below. And we're specifically going to talk about how advanced academics supports this. So as Dr. Jackson mentioned earlier, in order to be college ready, our students must meet the criteria of a 3 on AP exams. They must meet the TSI criteria, and they also must complete a course of dual credit or earn an associate's degree. And so what do we do in the district to meet all of those demands? So our district provides several dual credit and AP courses, and you see some of them listed here for our high schoolers. Remember, they must have that 3 on or above on the AP exams, and they can also earn money if they complete a 3 or higher on their AP exams after they have taken the course. And then again, complete the course for dual credit. Remember, they have to complete at least 9 hours or 3 hours of a dual credit course. And now we have our TSI exam, which is a series of placement tests for students enrolling in public colleges and universities in Texas. And what I've done here on the slide is I have links to different things that are free and online for you all to assist your scholar in preparing for those assessments that were mentioned before. So you'll see a free online TSI prep with College Board AccuPlacer. And if you don't get a hold of the PowerPoint later, then just go to College Board AccuPlacer, and there's a free online prep for the TSIA 2, which is our new TSI exam. Also, Khan Academy offers a free online SAT prep, and we encourage our scholars to participate in that as well. And then at ACT.org, they also have a free online ACT prep in order for our students to be prepared for the criteria that they have to meet for college readiness. And then finally, in order to be college ready, we have our wonderful CHHS Early College Academy and our awesome Collegiate High School, which both offers associate's degree for you to prepare for college readiness for graduation and beyond.
And now we will hear from our director of Gear Up, and Gear Up is an acronym that stands for Gaining Early Awareness and Readiness for Undergraduate Programs. We will have Ms. Angel Hodges take us through the next couple of slides.
Hello, everyone. I just want to welcome everyone, of course. Thank you so much for sharing some of your evening with us. And at this time, what we're going to do is just jump right into talking about some test prep opportunities. So you've heard from quite a few different people already talking about what to do to get prepared year by year, starting with 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. And then in between, you've started to hear some things about college readiness exams and test prep. So I'm just going to give a few bits of information about some upcoming test prep opportunities. So all 10th grade, all 11th grade will be taking the PSAT this school year. So those are the students who are also a part of the Gear Up cohort. So class of 2023 and class of 2024, we've been with them since they were in 6th and 7th grade. And they took the PSAT in 8th and 9th grade. And of course, they are now taking it in 10th and 11th grade. So our 8th and 9th graders this year will also take the PSAT. And then our 10th and 11th graders will be taking the PSAT as well. And you're going to hear some information about some upcoming opportunities that will be on the horizon for those 8th and 9th graders for test prep, because their tests will be coming up in November. So our 10th and 11th graders will be testing next month. That date is October 13th. And they will be taking the PSAT during the school day. On that test day, they will be taking the PSAT for 10th graders and then the PSAT NMSQT, which is what you heard about just a little bit earlier. So that PSAT NMSQT will be taken by our juniors. And that is a very important test for them, because what it does is it can qualify them as a National Merit Scholar. So if they can qualify as a National Merit Scholar, that gives them opportunities to get full access into most colleges, who will just basically just open up the door and say, come on in, as well as that gives them some opportunities to get a little bit of extra money. And in some cases, it may be a lot of extra money. So in our case, what we're wanting to do is to make sure that as a district, we prepare our scholars. So you've heard a lot of information about some free prep. Well, Gear Up is paying for every 10th and 11th grader to have the opportunity to get test prep at Collegiate High School and as well as at Cedar Hill High School. Those prep opportunities will begin on tomorrow. So this week kicks off the opportunity for our 10th and 11th graders to get test prep. And then, as I said, because our 8th and 9th graders will be testing a little bit later, then they will have some upcoming test prep opportunities that will be provided to them as well. So we're really excited about not only the opportunity for our scholars to compete against other students across the nation on the PSAT and MSQT, but also the opportunity for them to take the practice SAT. So this is just good practice, good opportunities for them to take this test and be well prepared, so that when they do take the SAT, it gives them a much better leverage to be able to be successful. And they've seen some types of SAT type questions. So with that said, our test prep will be provided by Princeton Review this year. So we've been a partner. Gear Up and Princeton Review have been partners since its inception, since Gear Up has been with Cedar Hill, which is since 2017-18 school year. Princeton Review has also been a great partner of Cedar Hill ISD for quite some time as well. So today we are joined by Henry Price, and I'm just going to use this as a great segue in just a moment. We're going to talk about some things that Henry's going to deliver to us here in just a moment. Right before that, we're going to have some information to share with you about what's going on this week. So not only are we doing some test prep, but we also have Gear Up and Go Get It week that's coming up. And our illustrious Executive Director of Guidance and Counseling will be talking to you, Dr. Courtney Jackson. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and then after that, we'll turn it over to Henry to tell you a little bit more about some opportunities with PSAT and what that can mean for your scholar. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hodges, for that. So parents, I know that you are aware, because you have been getting communication regarding this week's activities, Gear Up and Go Get It week. We annually celebrate National Gear Up Week as well as Education Go Get It Week. So Counseling Services and Gear Up has partnered this year to ensure that we have activities, college career and military ready activities at each of our campuses for all students grades K through 12. So we just wanted to send out another reminder to you this evening to let you know that your scholars are participating in a number of activities at their campuses. And there are things that you can do to continue to support the work and the effort that we're doing through this week by just questioning your scholar. What things are you learning about colleges and universities? What are you learning more about your future careers this week? And how are they talking to you about your future planning? So this is what we have planned. And then for our scholars in grades 11 through 12, we have our district-wide college fair that is going to be Thursday morning from 9 o'clock to 11. And we have over 120 colleges and universities, military entities that will be present. So we are looking forward to that event for our secondary scholars. Thank you so much. I will now turn it back over to Mr. Price, and he will talk to you more about PSAT. So thank you.
Yeah, hi, and thanks so much for having me tonight. I will not take up too much of everyone's time, but I do want to talk a little bit about the upcoming PSAT prep opportunities. But I want to start with, and you've heard a little bit about this already tonight, what is the PSAT? Why should I take it? And I'll even show you an example of a strategy that we're going to talk to your students about over the next couple of weeks. And then I'll get into the schedule and what that preparation is actually going to look like. So first of all, what is the PSAT? Well, as you heard earlier today, it's the preliminary SAT. And the two tests are actually really, really similar. If you ever took those tests when you were growing up, I'm old enough to remember when they were still pretty different, even though one is actually designed to prepare for the next. So let's take a look at that. Next slide, please. On the PSAT, you essentially get 10 fewer questions total and 10 fewer minutes total. And that's it. That's the only difference between the two tests. So if you're wondering, why should I care about the PSAT? I don't have great odds, you might think, of getting a National Merit Scholarship, but it's great preparation for the SAT. Honestly, if you sat down and took the SAT or the PSAT and I didn't tell you which one of them it was, you might not know the difference. That's how similar they are. So looking forward to college admissions, and that's when the SAT and or the ACT are going to be really, really important. The PSAT is a great opportunity not only to just see the formatting and what the questions are like and kind of feel that, but also to know what it feels like to sit for 3 hours and take a standardized test, which, if you're lucky, is not something you have to do very often, right? So this is a great opportunity for students in mid-October to have that experience. So leading up to that, we want to make sure that they're ready, not, walking in blind and experiencing this for the first time and getting dazed and confused, right? So just a quick overview here, the PSAT and the SAT both have a reading section. That means they're analyzing passages. Both have a writing and language section, which is just a fancy way of saying grammar and style editing. And then there are two math sections. Kids are often scared by the fact that they don't have a calculator available to them in the first of those two math sections. There's no complicated, long-winded division kind of stuff they have to do in that section. It's just straight up understanding what the test is asking you and dealing with the question in front of you. Then they do get a calculator for the longer second math section. And at the bottom of the screen where you see essay, there's no such thing on the PSAT. In fact, there's no such thing on the SAT anymore as of like literally 5 minutes ago. They've dropped the essay requirement entirely from the SAT. Colleges just didn't feel it was giving them enough information to put kids through the extra hour of taking an essay. So they don't have to do that anymore. So as you can see, the two tests are similar enough that if you took the PSAT, you'd have a decent idea what it's going to feel like to take the SAT. So what are we going to do strategically to help kids out? Well, I can sit here and try to dazzle you with all kinds of math tricks or something, but honestly, one of the most important things they're going to learn is how to pace themselves. Because as I said, it's a 3-hour test. And the first thing we always in our classes ask our kids, the first thing they do is take a practice test. And then we always ask them first thing, okay, what was that like? Tell me how that felt. And the feedback we get is very fascinating, because the two biggest complaints kids have are, that was way too long, I can't deal with that for 3 hours, and I kind of wish I had more time because I kept running out of time for each individual section, which is a weird combination of ways to feel. And that's exactly how the SAT is messing with us. They're trying to make us feel off of our game. The SAT is presenting what looks like familiar content, but it's doing it in a way that isn't familiar in terms of its format and the way that the timer feels and some of the wording and the questions. So after they have a chance to vent about the timing and the fact that they just didn't feel right taking the test, they often talk about, well, how am I supposed to answer that many questions in that little time? And the first thing we tell them is, honestly, you don't have to answer every question in the time that you have. You don't have to invest time in every question. So if you take a look at this slide here, we've kind of got our old tortoise and hare analogy, right? So imagine that the hare, the rabbit, has tried his hardest to answer all of the math questions in the allotted time. And by answer them, I mean really dive in and understand and figure out all the details and try to get every single question right. And what happened, right? When you rush, what happens? Doesn't work out that well. The rabbit in this particular case only got 26 math questions right out of 58. Now, interestingly enough, 26 right out of 58 is not a terrible SAT score. That's how hard the test is. Fewer than half right will still get you a decent score that colleges will accept, but could have done better, right? So in that scoring scale that goes from 200 to 800, the rabbit got a 540, which is just a shade over the national average. Not bad, but could be better, right? The tortoise is smarter. The tortoise knows what to do on this test. Has taken a prep class, maybe, right? So the tortoise goes in and says, I don't have to answer 58 questions. I just have to answer the most questions I can possibly answer myself. And so instead of setting that challenge to get through 58 questions in about an hour and a half, says to himself, I'm just going to do maybe 30 of those. And by do, I mean invest time in maybe 30 of those. And look what happened. Got them all right. Now, that's a bit of an exaggeration, probably. Being perfect, no matter how much time you have, is a tall order. But let's say he did, or maybe he tried a few more than 30 and missed a couple, but at any rate, he got 30 right, okay? And now he's already ahead of the hare, right? He's already got 4 more questions right, which gets him to a 580. Cool, that's better. But what's he gonna do on the remaining 20 questions? Well, there's no penalty for guessing wrong. There used to be, up until about 6 years ago, there was a penalty for guessing wrong on the SAT. So the advice was don't guess. If you have absolutely no idea, just leave it blank. Now we're saying there's no penalty for guessing. Bubble something. You got a 1 in 4 chance of being right, which is about as good a chance as you had of being right on the really hard questions anyway, statistically. So try. Just give me a guess. Not invest time in it, but save a minute or so to bubble in B on every question you didn't do that day and see what happens. And now the tortoise got an additional 4 or 5 questions right and is now up over that 600 threshold, which doesn't look like that much higher than a 540, but actually, if you looked at the data, would put them in the top third of everybody who took the test that day. So the tortoise did not know one more thing about math or reading or writing than the hare did. He just understood the test better, slowed down, paced himself, and wound up with a higher score. So it's that kind of thing we're going to be working with your scholars on over the next few weeks to make sure they understand that kind of thing, to make sure that they understand what kinds of questions they're going to see and make good decisions. Which of the questions I can do and which of the questions I might want to leave alone. And this is, of course, just an example. Not everybody's going to want to try exactly 30, right? But that's a good example of how the test might be beatable after the first time when you walk in and feel like it beat you. Right? One more slide. I want to talk a little bit about that National Merit Selection Index that was mentioned earlier tonight. This is not something your 10th graders actually have to stress about at all. Only 11th graders are eligible for national merit. What the heck is national merit, you may be asking? So an organization that's not affiliated with the test and not affiliated with us takes a look at every PSAT score across the country. And then they separate it out by state. And they say, I want to focus on the top, just about 1% of everybody in that state. And that number, that 3-digit number at the top of your score report, you'll get your PSAT score report back probably in December. That number at the top is what they're looking at. They have a complicated way of calculating it, but that's what they're looking at. And if you happen to be in the top percent or so for the state of Texas, you would get a letter from them, and it would say, you are now commended for National Merit Scholarship. And then the process begins of whittling that down to National Merit semifinalists, National Merit finalists, National Merit Scholarship recipients. Let's be clear, a National Merit Scholarship is not a full ride to college. It's only about $2,500. But being able to say that you were a National Merit Scholar your junior year, that's going to get you a whole lot more scholarship money than just what the National Merit Committee is offering, right? That's going to be something that can make the difference. I've seen this happen. I've seen it be the difference between two students getting into and getting scholarship money at a school or not, when otherwise they were extremely similar on paper as students, as test takers. That national merit pushed one of them over the edge. So it's something to think about. 10th graders, take a look at your score after you finish this test, when you get it back in December. And if it's in the ballpark, if it looks like you might have a chance to get up to that top percentile next year, that should be a priority for you when it comes to trying to earn college admissions, when it comes to trying to earn scholarships. 11th graders, this is your chance. Don't stress about it. It's a very small percentage anyway, but it's a really good indicator of how you're going to do in the SAT. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there, clarify some things we'd heard earlier. Again, thanks very much for inviting me to talk here tonight. Classes start tomorrow, as was mentioned earlier. Students at both high schools tomorrow and or Thursday, depending on whether they're in an A or B day, or at collegiate it's on Friday, will have a chance to learn from one of our Princeton Review instructors how to do their best on these tests. They don't have to do anything. They just have to show up to their math class, and that will happen on their behalf. So thanks again. I will hand this back over. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Price from the Princeton Review. At this time, we are going to take some questions from our viewers who are still with us this evening. We did have a couple of questions. One was already answered by the parents. She found it. But there was a question from Rebecca with Naviance. How can scholars receive access to this program at home, specifically ninth graders? If they take the surveys seriously as a parent, it can become very useful in college tours and requirements. Can anyone speak to that? How can scholars receive access to this program at home, ninth graders?
Naviance, actually, it's all of our students have access to Naviance, and now we have the single sign-on access. So when they actually go, they can go to naviance.com, and when they actually go to the page, they will input their ID number and their date of birth, and they will have access to all of the features in Naviance.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. I see this question. I'm going to put it on the screen. It says, were college credits applied to the high school transcript for students who attended the engineering? I don't know if I understand. I don't know if anyone here can answer that question, but the engineering courses or engineering program? Which program?
So our engineering program is not a dual credit program. We do have our STEM Center, which offers our scholars an opportunity to participate in engineering and biomedical courses, which lead to an endorsement. However, they are not dual credit courses, so they would not receive college credit for those courses.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. I totally understand the question now. Thank you for that question, Kiana. Any other questions this evening? The other question where the parent answered her own question was, how did they find the brag sheet? But it is in Naviance. So if you have access to Naviance, then you have access to those things as well. And I always leave some time. We had a lot of great information this evening. This really is very helpful. This is very, very helpful. Hi, Miss Lacey. How are you? This information is extremely helpful. So Tyranny said that we'll probably have to put this in its own section on the website so people can get all of this information and see this online, because this is really great information. And I didn't even know that the PSAT practice starts tomorrow. Wow, this is perfect timing then. I don't see any other questions, but let me see if there's any questions on my phone. All right, and thank you also to Dr. Lewis from Collegiate Prep, our principal. He is viewing. Thank you so much for the support there. Oh, we do have a question. Oh, how can they sign up for I think the PSAT or?
Well, all of our scholars are pre-registered as long as they are a student in CHISD. We will have an exam for them, and there will be more information coming directly to the family soon. All of our test coordinators received training today, and so more information is forthcoming from your scholars campus. But they are signed up. They don't have to pay a fee at all, and they are registered and will have an exam the day of the test. So 10th through 12th grade is definitely happening October the 13th. 8th and 9th has a test date to be determined, but most likely in November.
Thank you, Ms. Bragg. She has a follow-up. What about the prep class?
Prep sessions are available right now to 10th and 11th graders, and that will kick off tomorrow at Cedar Hill High School, Wednesdays and Thursdays. I believe this week Collegiate will also jump in on Wednesdays, but their typical day each week will be on Fridays. And so this kind of aligns with where the principals were able to insert the opportunities for either enrichment or interventions. So this is considered a piece of the enrichment that they will receive for the next few weeks leading up to October 13th.
Thank you, Ms. Hodges. And I am going to refer to this slide again. I hope you all are participating. It is Gear Up and Go Get It week, okay? So yesterday, they displayed their dream boards. Today was the Texas Highlights Military Scavenger Hunt. Tomorrow, there's going to be the HBCU and HSI Meet the Greeks halftime show. Is that at the campuses? Is this virtual? Who has that information?
Well, tomorrow you should be able to see an interview from our wonderful band director at Cedar Hill High School, who will give you a little bit of history and background about the halftime shows and how that looks with HBCUs and some of the history of the halftime show. And if you've ever been to a HBCU football game or you've ever attended an HBCU, then you know it is a complete production. So he's going to give a little bit of background and information about that. All Greek organizations will be represented. Of course, we're asking all staff who are a member of a Greek organization to wear their Greek paraphernalia on tomorrow, as well as if they attended an HBCU, historically Black college or university, or a Hispanic serving institution, then we're asking that those staff members to also represent those institutions as well.
Thank you. And then, of course, Thursday is the college fair and Friday is Spirit Day, and tweet about career and technical education quest. Okay, so there's a couple of additional questions. Do they have to sign up for the prep and how? I think this was just addressed. You don't have. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. For 10th and 11th graders, Gear Up is paying for every 10th and 11th grader to have access to the prep at the high school and collegiate, as well as this will be some information that will be upcoming. You will get some more details if you have an 8th or a 9th grader testing in November. There will also be some prep opportunities for them. So this is a real great opportunity for them not to have to kind of have a first come, first serve. Whoever gets there first gets the opportunity. We're really trying to make this as equitable as possible to make sure that all scholars get the opportunity. Just make sure they take it seriously, that while they're in their prep sessions, that they're paying good attention, that they're taking good notes, that they're really engaged parents, as well as make sure that they're present and here for the next few weeks. And then on test day on October 13th, if they're here, they're taking that test. And then, as Henry said, look for those results to come out, and we'll be following up with a result session sometime near the end of the semester, so you'll know how to go over those scores with them.
Thank you, Ms. Hodges. We have another question from Rebecca. How can parents view previous TSI scores? Dr. Jackson or Ms. Garrett, do either of you know?
So currently we are working to have the TSI scores placed in the student information system with your Skyward. But we're also in the process of partnering with Greenlight, which is a platform that will allow our scholars to have access to their official transcripts and be able to submit those transcripts to colleges and universities without having to request through Naviance. And so we anticipate rolling that platform out here by the end of, well, let's say by mid-October. And we'll be doing some training with our scholars and sending some information and how-tos to the parents on how to access that platform. And in that platform, you'll have access to all of your scholars' college readiness exams, TSI, SAT, ACT, and of course, their star data and transcripts will be housed there. So that is forthcoming, and we're looking forward to giving you that opportunity to have that in your hand and accessible to you.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Is there a link that will be sent out about the Wednesday activity for HBCUs and Greeks? Yes. It will come out at 12 o'clock noon. You will receive the link sharply at noon. It will be posted online. So that is how you will be able to see this presentation. All right. Not clear if prep is during or after school.
It's during the school day.
Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, here's one. When do juniors take the ACT or SAT? Is there a prep course for them? Sorry, I'm a late joiner. It's okay, Leslie.
No problem. And we will make sure that all of the parents are aware of the upcoming college readiness exams, but our juniors will be taking SAT in the spring because they'll be taking the PSAT NMSQT here in the fall. And then our seniors will be taking SAT next month. So juniors will be taking it. I believe the date is in March, but we will be sending those dates to you. And again, we'll be offering, just like we're doing with PSAT, we'll be offering hopefully in school SAT prep, just as we're doing now for PSAT.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. When is graduation? I believe it's in late May. I'm not sure the exact date, but I believe it's in late May. You are ahead of the game. You want to know. I'm pretty sure it's in late May of 2022. All right. Oh. When is prom? I don't know. I don't know when prom is. That's probably going to be something that your campus will let you know.
There will be a senior meeting specifically to address all those concerns. The tentative date for prom is May 20th, and the tentative date for graduation is the following week. So I don't want to overstep or overspeak in case the location or time changes. But there will be a senior meeting to address all of that with senior fees, and that will go out to all parents.
Thank you, Ms. Bragg, very much. Okay, it is 6:59. It's almost that time. Oh, we have another question. Will collegiate students be taking preparatory classes for college application?
So if you're referring to the college prep classes that we mentioned earlier, the majority of our collegiate high school students will not need that course because they will meet the CCMR measures in other ways. They will have the amount of dual credit courses that are required to be CCMR met, and they will eventually end up with an associate's degree. So they'll meet there if that's the courses you're referring to, the college prep courses.
Tierney, our Chief of Communications and Marketing, is letting us know graduation is May 31st at the Mansfield ISD Performing Arts Center. So there's the answer to that question. Oh, for clarification, Leslie says she meant with help with the application. I guess college. Will collegiate students be taking preparatory classes to help them with college applications, applying for college? I don't know.
We don't have a course specific to doing that work. However, our lead counselor over collegiate and our CCMR counselor at the comprehensive high school, they offer sessions for our scholars. They offer support. They have open office hours in which kids can go in and get help with not only applications, but with FAFSA, Dallas College Promise, which Ms. Matthews mentioned earlier. So all things that are for college readiness and college preparedness, they're available to assist with.
And she says, thank you, Dr. Jackson. All right. Now, it's a little after 7, so it's time for me to put this banner up. When I put the banner up, it means it's time to go. Thank you so very much for the panel for being here this evening, and for our parents, our scholars, whoever, our staff, whoever in our community, whoever was joining us this evening. We really appreciate you. This is just the first of our digital parent universities for this school year, and we will continue on next month with our second one. And if you have any suggestions for them, you can email face@chisd.net. That's FACE, which is an acronym for Family and Community Engagement. Also, we did hear you when we surveyed you all about what you do want parent university sessions to be on. So we are taking that into consideration when we are planning our digital parent universities. Again, we hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.